Welcome back to the Brew Crew Podcast, everyone. This is day 10 of the Advent Calendar. Brew Crew Podcast, Barrel House, Advent Calendar.
25.
24.
24.
24 is getting ahead of himself. He's a year ahead.
I planned the whole event, our whole event calendar out at work today for 25, but I got 25 on my brain now. All right. This is a bourbon barrel-aged ale. Some people in the videos, I did watch a couple of videos already, said it was a stout. It's an ale. It's an ale, folks. It says right there on the can, ale. It's a brown ale. At least that's what Untapped says. But it is bourbon barrel aged, and it is from Fretboard Brewing Company out of Ohio. I think Blue Ash. Blue Ash.
Let me see if they say on here. Yeah, Blue Ash.
Blue
They have a
Ash.
couple locations.
Fretboard brews in tune with a little pick on there.
Let's open this up, and then we'll talk about
do it.
Fretboard a little bit.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. Wow, that really went crazy there.
Did a little bit, huh?
Got all over the place. What a terrible pour that was.
TV beer.
I was just trying to get it out of the can before
I saw it
spilled
coming
all
out
over
of
the
there.
place.
You were wise.
It was a race against time.
It was. You were wise.
I could see Matt had a little mishap too. It hit his keyboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I can smell it though. Now I'm going to smell like maple syrup. So,
Yep.
this does harken back to a beer that honestly is one of those beers that if you see it in the wild, you have to buy it. It's actually a law now. You have to buy the beer.
It's
called
law.
the Canadian Breakfast Stout. It's from Founders, and it is a Canadian Breakfast Stout, and they don't make it anymore.
Oh, man.
It was probably their best beer ever.
I don't.
It was probably you might not have had it. It was pretty limited. So they have the Breakfast Stout, KBS.
Yep.
Kentucky Breakfast Stout or whatever. The Canadian Breakfast Stout was one of a kind. It was literally like eating fresh waffles with syrup, maple syrup. It was like all maple syrup, which this smells like. I haven't tasted it.
It does have that.
I'm getting all of
Oh, yeah.
the head, the bubbles are bursting with aroma. Bursting with Aroma would be a great episode title name. Man, there's so many good episode titles we don't name these episodes. Bursting with Aroma. And earlier I told my son to get in the holiday spirit, and I said, you need to have... Now, the word aura is like a popular word amongst kids.
Oh.
And it's cringe. It's a little cringe. So I said you should be oozing with holiday aura. And he loved that. He thought that was really stupid. But the second that he realized he could put it on an ugly sweater, he realized it was probably awesome.
Yeah. But of course you never know, because stupid in this day and age means probably great.
Yeah, no, stupid still means stupid.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Sick is cool.
Sick, yeah.
Sick is cool.
That's a little older phrase, though.
Yeah. I don't think they've adopted... I don't think these generations are smart enough to adopt like an opposite word, and turn it into something cool.
Antonym.
They're just not that good at it.
Wow. This does smell like breakfast. I smelled it right when I cracked it, before I even poured it. I could smell the maple syrup, and I could smell the waffles. Do you smell the waffles in there?
Oh, you can smell the waffles.
Totally.
So it's a brown ale, so it's going to have a lot, a little different tasting notes than the stout, but it's got a lot of the characteristics. So it says bourbon barrel aged. It's got the maple syrup, which we have had in a breakfast stout before. Mm-hmm. Fretboard. Now I told Mike, who is a guitarist in a band that I play for, I said, Fretboard, they allow music at the brewery, and he told me, now Fretboard, if you're watching, correct me. He said they're not into the loud, fast rock bands. And I said, a brewery called Fretboard doesn't want louder, faster bands? That sounds crazy.
With a talented guitarist.
That's making me mad.
With a talented guitarist who can rip it, by the way.
I mean, Mike is probably like almost too good for me to be in his band.
I mean,
he needs a drummer like Neil Peart.
Oh my gosh.
Not me. I'm too basic.
That's not true.
Although I've been playing Rush a lot lately.
I think.
I play some Tom Sawyer down in the basement.
I love.
It's most the key to Rush is mostly a lot of cymbal accents and some pretty good fills. The thing about Bonham is like foot patterns and triplets, and then a lot of good fills as well. But Neil Peart was more about cymbals, whereas Bonham was more about toms.
Yeah.
If you want to separate those, but I'm neither. I'm just a guy who hits cylindrical wood.
You're a man of many talents. He's lucky to have you in that band, and you belong in there.
Thanks, Scott.
I haven't heard it for a while, though. I've come back.
I know we were supposed to have a show this weekend, but it got canceled.
Yeah.
Well, we got canceled.
Too bad, man. Fretboard should definitely have you guys out. That'd be
Fretboard,
so much fun.
have us out. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
All right, let's taste
What's
this
up?
beer. So Fretboard, Cincinnati. They don't like good bands.
They don't like good bands.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. The bourbon is stronger in the mouth than it is on the nose, and the waffles in maple syrup is stronger in the nose and less in the mouth because of the bourbon, I'm sure.
As you get closer, that's like if you're out here, smells like waffles and syrup.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting close, it's like, oh, you lose it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. Now, the aftertaste is quite good. Quite good. Now the foretaste, I don't know. We'll see. Still trying it. Why don't you describe what you're tasting?
I got a lot of sweetness there. I'm imagining it's a 10.5% brew, which is a lot higher than a brown ale. A lot higher than pretty much anything except barley wine. I think triple ales, triple IPAs will get you there. But there's a lot
Some
of
stouts will get you there.
Yeah, some stouts. Yep.
Barley wine, but barley wines are like standard.
Yeah,
like
that'll push you up to 14 and a half. But that means they put a lot more sugar than normal into it, which means that it's going to be, it's going to convert to sugar or convert to alcohol, as we've talked about, and that's going to raise it up, right? But there's a sweetness to that, and you can taste that in here. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It tastes like maple syrup, and so I'm guessing they did put maple syrup in there in the brew.
Probably.
And it tastes pretty dang good. It's not overpowering. The bourbon is pretty strong, but I bet you as it warms up and opens up a little bit, that'll probably burn off a little bit, maybe. It'll maybe balance out a little bit. We'll see.
You think that this beer should be cellared?
That's a tough call.
It needs to breathe. It needs not breathe. It needs to sit for a while.
It needs to sit for a little longer.
Something needs to dissipate. You're saying?
Yeah.
Some of the sugar, some of the bourbon.
It's part of both. I think it needs to sit for a little longer, and then I learned this the hard way. I made a Christmas ale or a Christmas stout one year with my buddy Mike, way back when I was brewing.
Different Mike than I was talking about.
Yeah.
Just for clarification.
Yeah, just a different.
Unless
Mike.
it was the same Mike, that could be.
Old friend I haven't seen in a long time. But we brewed a cherry stout for Christmas one year, and we did it in August, and we popped it for Christmas, and it was horrible. It was sour with the cherries. None of the ingredients had melded together or integrated together, and we, after we tried it over several weeks, we thought, well, we ruined it. We did something. We'd never done that kind of beer before, so we ended up tossing most of it. And lo and behold, literally the next summer, it was almost a year, and Mike was over for something, and I found in the bottom of my coat closet in the front hallway, I found two bottles of cherry stout. And I said, Mike, you won't believe this. I found 2 bottles of cherry stout in there. What do you think? Should we just for giggles, should we try it? He goes, hell yeah, why not?
Hell yeah, dude.
So we tried it, and you know what? It was awesome.
Cherry stout sounds good. I don't think I've had a cherry stout.
It was awesome, but you gotta let it lay down because it takes a lot longer than a normal beer to settle in and mellow out and fully ferment in the bottle. The whole tertiary fermentation thing, that's for real, man. And it was phenomenal, and we were kicking ourselves for throwing out like several cases of cherry stout.
Sucks, yeah.
We'd thrown it out. We literally just said, this stuff is rock good. It's no good. But that's kind of how this is. It's strong. It's going to take a while to kind of meld together, I think it needs to sit a little bit longer. But then also, too, when you open it, I think you pour it like this, and it needs to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, we probably need to warm it up a little bit, so we can do that.
When it opens up a little bit...
Yeah. That's a good point. We should probably let it warm up. Yeah. It doesn't have, like, the temperature you're supposed to drink it at, but... Like, you can clearly smell that there's character here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should let...
No doubt.
Matt and I talk about this temperature thing all the time. So we've come a long way in accepting that stouts should probably be warmer because we've experienced, how they really start to provide more aroma, more flavor. However, with IPAs, there's been a few even in this calendar that suggested being served 45 to 50 degrees. I just can't agree with that. I just can't get behind it. It's the brewers are the law, and if they want you to drink their beer at 50 degrees, then they know something. Yeah. But there's something about drinking like an IPA less than warm that's very unappealing. Not less than warm, but less than cold.
Yeah.
That's very unappealing. As an IPA warms up, it becomes far less good, for lack of a better word, better phrase.
I've always found that the lighter the beer, the colder you should drink it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like a lager should be. I like a lager.
That's a good way to kind of sum it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of goes with the seasons, right? I mean, you wouldn't. Well, you could. There's nothing that says you can't, but you typically, as the winter comes on, you're going to drink, heavier beers typically or darker beers, and they need to be served warmer. Wow, what a surprise, And in the summertime when it's hot, you're going to drink lagers because they're lighter, but you drink them at a colder temperature, which also makes sense, right? So, but that's just kind of my rule of thumb. And I think I believe I don't put them in a specially, climate controlled refrigerator. I stick it in my refrigerator and it's damn cold.
Yeah.
But I'll let it warm up.
I'm going to use my hand heat to warm it up. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. Brown ale, I don't know. It seems like I get it. Yeah, darker beer, drink it warmer.
The brown ale is like, to me, I'm not tasting very much of the characteristic brown ale. Like we had a brown ale the other night, and I'm not tasting any of those characteristic kind of brown ale flavors to it. Mostly, I think, because of the very strong. The three other flavors that are the strongest and predominant here are the maple and the bourbon. And the breadiness of what's supposed to taste like waffles, which does.
Yeah.
So it's, and this is kind of one of those things that's, you were talking the other night, John, about, grading it for its class, right? You're this kind of beer, and you do a good job of that, right? This is impossible to do that with because there's not a lot of maple bacon bourbon breakfast ale. Yeah, breakfast brown ale.
Now, I will say one of the best beers that I've had was a brown ale. It was I don't know if it was like a Ghostbusters themed thing. It was Marshmallows brown ale. It was a marshmallow brown ale. It was freaking awesome.
That sounds good.
Had that a couple of years ago. I still remember it. I can't remember what it was called though. But it was a brewery out of Chicago called Onion something.
Really?
Like, what a weird name for a brewery. I think it was like Onion City or something.
Never heard
something.
of it.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still around. But they made a damn good beer. God, what was that beer called? I can't remember. Anyway, I found that Winans Coffee. This is an aside while I warm the beer up.
Go for it.
Winans Coffee. They have these flavors that are unbelievable, like some of the best that I've ever had, and somehow they roast the flavor in enough to where it comes through after you grind the bean. Because a lot of times, like with Dunkin' Donuts, after you grind it, it's gone. The flavor's gone. So either some people add flavor later, like some coffee makers, or Winans they figured it out. But I found out that. If you really want to amplify that coffee, you take it one step. This is an insider's tip. I've been drinking Winans coffee for years now. You grind your beans and put them at the normal level. Then take about 3 or 4 beans, unground, and put them on top.
Oh, really?
And this is like the perfect... I haven't tried putting them underneath the grounds yet. Maybe I'll try that. But the flavor is amped up
Really?
by 1,000,000. It's crazy how much just like 4 beans can really amp up the flavor.
That tomorrow.
So I've been putting like 4 unground beans on top of the coffee grounds, and it's making the flavor just unbelievable. Because this apple pie one that they have released, it is hands down the best coffee they've ever made.
I've not tried it yet.
It's unbelievable. It's so good. But I want more. I want more and more. I want the flavor to be as strong as possible. So I'm like, I'm desperate now. And that's when I tried it, like just 2 or 3 days ago.
Wow.
And I just figured it out. So the reason why I'm telling this story is because I've had a lot of bourbon barrel aged things. And I know what's happening. I get it. I've read about the science. I read about, the aging process and what happens with the wood.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like in some bourbon barrel is just leave a little bit of bourbon in that barrel. I think that there's some character from bourbon that would be interesting to see in liquid form, like not having been, I'm not saying a lot, just a little bit, that hasn't been sitting in the wood,
Yeah.
That's all. I want to see what that's like. Now this probably is close to having
this is
liquid bourbon in it because it's pretty strong.
Yeah,
I mean they don't hide it very well.
Yeah, you can taste it, and probably what they did was they used fresh oak.
Yeah.
In the bourbon that they
and the bourbon that just came out.
Right,
yeah.
and so the fresh oak is going to soak it all up, and so you're getting a lot of that dankness of the actual bourbon coming out of the wood.
Yeah. What I'd suggest is use like a terry cloth barrel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, I do.
It'll soak it up. You'll get a lot more flavor that way.
Wouldn't hold it.
Yeah, no reaction to that. None at all. No reaction at all to that.
I was trying to make out if you were serious or not. I got to say this. The first bourbon-aged beer that I tried was when we first moved here. And you had an extra Founder's something.
Probably Bastard or something.
I remember Bastard. It was the one before
It was
Bastard.
the other one. It was the really rare one.
It was so good. I fell in love immediately. I'd never had a bourbon-aged... Can you believe that? I'd never had a bourbon-aged beer before that, and it was phenomenal. I really liked it. So I enjoy that.
I can't believe it. I feel like you would have introduced me to those.
Kind of weird, huh? Because that's like old school.
Because you're like, that's like your thing.
Their bourbon-aged Scotch ale is really good. That's the Bastard.
The Bastard's a Scottish ale.
Yeah, it's a
so
Scottish
Canadian
ale.
breakfast stout looks like that, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So CBS. It's got a horse on it.
I gotta go find that.
What was that beer that I did?
Founder's
I don't remember
Spring.
that one. I remember what you're saying because I remember having it and being like, "Holy shit, this is good."
Ever since then, I've been trying to remember the name of it because
What's this one? Dirty Bastard. It was Backwoods Bastard.
Backwoods Bastard. That's right.
Backwoods Bastard.
Backwoods Bastard,
That was
and
the
this
one.
and the Dirty Bastard is the Scottish.
That's
ale.
the Dirty Bastard's more popular, I think. The Backwoods. I don't think they make that anymore.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, that was a baller beer.
It was phenomenal.
All right. Give your review.
Well, I like it. Of course, I like it. Easy for me to say. I haven't even had one yet. I haven't even finished drinking this one yet.
Dang.
The bourbon barrel aged. Say that fast 3 times.
Bourbon barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged. I can't do it. Can't do it.
You did. Well, you almost did.
I tripped up.
I wouldn't have made it through one. Anyway, it's good. I like that style anyway. But I like the unusual. I like the twist on it with the breakfast theme, the maple. It tastes like waffles with maple on it. And actually, I got some maple syrup. You guys might have gotten me this a couple of years ago for Christmas, I think. I have a bottle still in the cupboard of a bourbon infused maple syrup.
Katie bought a bunch of those.
Yeah. I think I got that for Christmas one year. I still have some of that, and it's really good. Like it's not like overpoweringly bourbon, but there's enough in there so you can taste it, and the way bourbon and maple goes together, it's magic.
Yeah, so we've actually had some beers within the last year or two that are aged in bourbon barrels that were then used to age maple syrup.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you that's good.
So that syrup, I believe, was aged in bourbon barrels.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Before it was poured into the jar, with probably some bourbon mixed in.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
It's darn good. I like it a lot.
It's very thin.
I like it a lot. It's an unusual beer, and you have to kind of be in the mood for it, and or certainly open to it. And it's not kind of an everyday drinker. You wouldn't want to drink it every day, I don't think. Maybe a special occasion type of thing, or I don't know, just whenever you feel like it. But it's probably not going to be like a regular routine for you. So would I drink it again? Absolutely, I would. Would I buy it? That is the question. Not until after I try the Founder's Canadian breakfast.
Oh yeah, you gotta try the Canadian. It's impossible. No one has it.
Yeah. I wonder where you can get it from. I'm going to find out. Anyway.
It's like sandalwood hand soap. It's like you can't find it, and when you do, it's fucking expensive.
It is.
Why don't they make it easy to buy sandalwood hand soap anymore?
You know, I found it.
That stuff that I got from you is like the last I've seen of it.
And you know what? The Art of Shaving doesn't even make it anymore.
Yeah, I know. I looked it up. It's what the hell is with sandalwood? Why is it so rare? Is that a real thing or what?
It is a real thing,
so
but I don't know why. I don't know why you can't find it anymore.
It's the best smelling soap I've ever smelled in my life.
I bought up a whole bunch of it years ago, like when I lived here, I think still. I bought a whole bunch of it, and I'm down to like the last two.
You're down to two?
I'm down to like two of them, and there's no more.
I've been hoarding one that you gave me as a gift.
Oh, do it.
So I still have it. It's still full. I haven't touched it, and it's stupid. Like I'm never going to use this stuff because I'm so nervous I'll never find it again. But I will I'll say that oddly enough, a good tie-in here, the Buffalo Trace soap that they have at Walmart is very close. It's not there. It's not perfect. It does leave some to be desired. But it is as close to that sandalwood as I've gotten.
I didn't know you could buy that at Walmart.
Yeah, you could buy it at Walmart.
Seriously?
It's liquid. It's in the body wash section.
Okay.
That's why you probably haven't found it.
Oh, man.
It's like Duke's or whatever.
I'm going to have to check that out.
It's very good smelling soap.
Yeah.
Anyway. I have some in the bathroom here. So what's your score?
My score is going to be... Man, teetering on the edge again.
Teetering on the edge of my seat.
Teetering on the edge. The famed and somewhat mysterious 4.0 edge. I think you get
Just go with it, man.
What's that?
Just go with it. Go with the higher of the scores you're teetering on.
4.25.
Ooh, 4.25. I didn't expect that. I thought you'd be on 3.754 or 4. No, I thought the higher was going to be 4.
Oh.
I get what you...
Well, I was... Yeah, it was...
4.25 is good. Matt gave it a 5.
Did he really?
Yeah, Matt gave it a 5. I gave yesterday's beer a 5. I love that beer. That beer is very good. Anyway.
That beer was very good.
That's a good score. It's a good score. I think that... I think that this beer has the taste and the aroma of a beer that has a lot of work put into it.
Yeah.
The problem is, with me personally, is that I feel like it's washed out a little bit. Really? I think there's too much water in this beer. Like, I know that's beer's water, but I don't know what's happening here. Why everything seems so... It seems to be washed out. It's the only word I could really think about for this beer. It's like I could tell that there's character, and I could tell that this beer, it's got to be the brown ale. I think it's messing with my mind. This beer should be a stout. I'll just say it. No. I mean, I'm not an expert, but
I see what you're saying.
This beer is too thin, and it's
there you go.
It's taking the flavor away too early, too quickly. It's almost as if like I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but it's like it's almost like a seltzer.
I know.
It's not like a seltzer, but you know what I'm saying. Like when
I know exactly where
you have the flavor, or when you have, let's say you were to use like a drink packet for a bottle of water in a pitcher. That's what this tastes like. Like you just don't have enough.
I see what you're saying. I think what you're saying, and I get this because I think I would have rated it higher had it been a stout with all the same flavor profile.
Yeah.
Because it would be thicker, texture-wise. It'd be thicker. It'd be creamier, and it would definitely linger longer on the finish.
Yeah.
Right, which would just bring all those flavors up, and you'd just be sitting there basking in it. Right. Yeah. That would make it a 5. That would probably make this beer a 5.
Yeah.
You're right. It should be a stout.
I think it would be higher for sure.
If it were a stout, even at the same alcohol level content, 10.3, whatever, right? If it were a stout and it had those, those bigger roasted malts and those bigger the chocolate malt in it and stuff, it would still be balanced because the maple syrup is going to balance it out with the sweetness, right? Yeah. So it wouldn't be too bitter. It would still have the same characteristics, but it would be thicker and have more texture. Yeah. I think that's a great call. That's a really great observation.
Now, I do know who would like this beer, and I think it would be Lynn, Randy Orton's wife. And the reason why I think that is because when we've gone out before, and she orders as two couples we've gone out. Not me and Lynn. I've never been out with Lynn before. She orders bourbon and in a full glass of water. Have you seen that before?
No.
There's a name for that. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. She orders it. That's what this is. It's like to me. You could really taste a strong, I don't know, bourbon per se. I don't think I could be like, yeah, this is bourbon for sure. But whiskey, 100%, and water. I think that if you drink whatever Lynn drinks, I don't even know the name of it, that you'd like this beer. Because it has the profile of that. Personally, now the smell doesn't come through in the taste very much.
It's unusual.
I think it's there, but it's
a
very
different.
subtle. I mean, most of the taste is booze, most of the taste is bourbon. The smell, though, it's crazy how strong it is. So, I really got excited when I opened the can. I thought, wow, Canadian breakfast stout. The aftertaste is very pleasant, but I can't give this beer more than a 3.25.
3.25.
It just doesn't do anything for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's way lower than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, it's lower than I thought. I mean, when
I thought you were going to be 3.5, 3.75. I thought that's where you'd be.
I thought you'd be under. We kind of go with this idea that a 3.5 you drink it again. 4.0 you buy it again.
Right.
I think I'd pass if this beer was offered to me. I would drink it if it was offered to me. Maybe that's not a good way. But if I'm walking through the store, I'm not going to pick it up. Or if I'm at the bar, I'd rather have something else.
Yeah.
I'm good now that I've tried it. And I've had Fretboard. Fretboard, I should have mentioned before, I've had a lot of Fretboard beers. Because Mike buys Fretboard, a lot. So I'm good with Fretboard. Just not this one. It's fine.
Do they make other beers, just out of curiosity? I'm not that familiar with Fretboard. Do they make other beers that are also kind of specialty beers, specialty flavored beers like that?
I don't remember. I think I had pretty standard beers.
Okay.
Like IPA.
I was just curious.
Oh, man. I hate yawning when I'm on these things. Because I'm actually not as tired today as I was 2 days ago. 2 days ago I was dying, so sorry for all the yawns. But I think that was Sunday. I was dying. I do like the can art. Let me at least
it's
give
good
it a little homage here.
Oh, and yeah, the name of it's Fugee.
There it is. And it's got an amplifier with a waffle and butter and stuff.
Yeah.
Fugee.
Yeah, which you'd never do.
The Fugees.
No,
you know who the Fugees are?
Self-respecting musician would ever do that because it would basically ruin the amplifier forever. Yeah. Maple syrup, butter, and a soggy piece of waffle. That would not be good for the amp.
A soggy waffle.
Soggy waffle with syrup. Can you imagine trying to clean that up? Yee! And who knows what it would do to the electronics. All right, never mind. We won't talk about that anymore. We will not speak of this anymore. Wow.
Well, there we are.
That was a pretty stark differentiation between us.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a better day because it's a 10.5. I thought it was a stout, actually. That's why I said to you,
oh, yeah,
let's get this going, because I think there's conversation here.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a home run.
Turned out there was a lot of conversation.
There was, but not a home run.
Well, I'll just my final epitaph will be this. I agree with you. I think it would be a better beer, an even better beer, if it had been a stout.
Yeah.
I think it would have been.
I wonder if
let me ask you this: if you could extrapolate, you're a very creative guy, so I'm sure you can. I know you could do this because the way you think about things a lot of times and the way you create. If this were a stout, could you see it being over a 4?
I was just actually gonna speculate that if you could take whatever they did, and maybe it is the thinness of the brown ale that brought out the bourbon from the barrel. If you could do that and then use that liquid to make the stout, and you can maintain some of those bourbon notes, but then make the maple syrup stronger. And butter wouldn't be so. Not adding real butter, but having like a buttery taste to it, maybe savory, would be pretty interesting.
What was the one we had?
Yeah, you could make this beer above a 4 for sure.
Yeah.
For me, like in my mind.
Yeah.
Like Matt's already had a 5 on this beer. He loved it.
We had a beer earlier on this season, this Advent season, that was buttery. It was it was buttery, and I can't remember which one.
I don't remember.
I'll have to look at my notes.
I don't know.
All right.
But that's it. That's day 10.
That's it. We've got a 4.25, and we've got a
3.25.
3.25. A whole point difference between JT and SFIL.
Yeah, it's okay. That's good.
That's good.
It means we're not cheating.
No, we're not studying any cheat sheets or anything here.
Yeah.
We're calling it as we see it.
We call it as we see it.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Good to be with you. Day 10. Can you believe it? We're almost halfway through.
Almost halfway. 2 more days. We'll be halfway through.
That's right.
Check out all the other videos. Bobby and Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Frank gave it a 0.
He gave it a 0?
No, not unexpected.
That's low for even him.
Totally expected. That's the second 0 he's given.
Oh, really? What was the other 0? Just
probably another, like a stout. This obviously isn't a stout, but a dark beer. Yeah, I don't think he likes the dark ones. It's okay.
Has he given anything over a 2?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Wow.
Bobby has. Bobby's been at the 4. They give whole numbers. I don't think they're give. Oh no, Bobby did give like a 3.5 or something the other day. Yeah. Anyway, check them out.
Yeah, I have been. I haven't watched all of them.
It's easy. It's only a minute long, so it's like it doesn't take much time.
Yeah, they're shorts. They're definitely representing the Brew Crew podcast on the short side.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's day 10. Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow, day 11.
Chuggalos. Later.
Bye.